Hello, people. Welcome back to the Growth Mindset. Our guest for today, guys, is Abhishek Chandrashekar, the founder and CEO of Royal Brothers, the bike rental company. Abhishek started Royal Brothers 5 years ago, and today Royal Brothers is one of the leading companies in the bike rental platform, having its presence in multiple cities and different countries. Abhishek will share with us today as to how he was able to start Royal Brothers, how he was able to make his company stand out of the rest, how to build the right team, and how to make sure that your startup succeeds. So let's begin the interview.
Hello everyone, this is Abhishek, co-founder and CEO of Royal Brothers. I've done my mechanical engineering from RV College of Engineering and very big automobile fan. Built a Formula student car when I was in college with a team of 15 people. Participated in an event in Italy. So the passion comes from there for automobile. I travel a lot and that's something that inspires me, and whenever I need a break, I'm on a bike or a car or out of the country or out of the city, just trying to find answers.
Okay, and where did you get the inspiration to start your own business? How was your teenage life?
So I think as a teenager when I was growing up, it was always the interest of, okay, which bike can I own, which car can I buy, what can I afford, what is the budget for us, and then once when I was in my PU and I did my PU in presidency, and I in the presidency college library I saw a newspaper article which wrote about Ashwa racing in RV College of Engineering, and I had a paper cutting of that and I saved it. And fast forward, after I graduated I did my PU and then I joined engineering, and then I applied for Ashwa racing. So RV College as such has it is a compulsion in RV College that you work on something apart from academics. So it might be build a car or build a maybe a drone. A lot of people do a lot of crazy stuff in RV. So I wanted to build a race car. Speed is something that. So I was also a race car. I used to drive. So one of the drivers. So we had four drivers, and I was on acceleration event. So which you could accelerate. You should accelerate fastest in the 75-meter stretch. So I was clocking the best timing. So I was put on that. Yeah, so that's where the automobile and bikes and cars came. Yes. So we built a car in, like, we have 4 years time from we get onboarded on the first year. We build a cart. We call it the cart. We just put wheels and then brakes and a steering wheel. And whoever wins the competition, the top 40 or people will get selected to be part of the team. And then the next process gets on and on and on. And there is a interview, all of those personal interviews, group discussions, and then you get onboarded. And you only work on this project after college. So 9 to 5 you work on college. Post 5 you start working on this. So we used to, I think, Saturdays, Sundays, evenings. I used to get back home every day at 10. So from college, I think that's been my routine. Even now, it's like I reach home only at 10 or 11 and start early at by 8 or 9.
Okay, and where did you get the idea to start Royal Brothers?
Yeah. So same thing. We my friend and I decided to go on a Pondicherry trip. So we went there and we did. It was a quick decision. It was a Thursday, and then we said, okay, Friday night, let's go. And so my friend booked the bus, and then both of us were searching for a bike rental. So the next question was, I reached there and how do I commute there, right? So it's a new city, everything. So we did a search on online on Google, and then we figured out some vendors were there for bike rentals, but nothing authorized or nothing very premium, that nothing that is trustable, most important. So there was one website which had a pink color page, landing page, and then it said for bike rentals, boldly written, and call this number. So we called. He said, okay, you come down, get on at the bus stop, take a auto rickshaw to Beach Road, and stand near the Secretariat building. I'll come. So we went, reached at 5:45 or 6 a.m. in the morning. We took our auto. We reached by 6:30, and this guy comes in, hands over the bike. The bike is in whiteboard, the first negative, and then the next negative was waiting for someone on the road. You don't even know, and the language is another barrier, right? And there's no negotiation. He says whatever the price, because you can't negotiate. And then he says, if someone catches you, just give me a call. So it sounded very unprofessional, but we saw there was market, because we as millennials, we always look up for solutions online instead of going to our parents and asking what this is happening with me, or this is what I want to do. We always Google, right? So we Google was the father, I would say, for everything. So that's why. So we said, let's build a website, let's build a reliable, trustable brand, and we'll get these vehicles on the road and we'll start renting them out. And that's when we came back and we started doing research, and we figured out there were two other players, and none of them had licenses in Bangalore. So okay, let's start. Let's procure the license. Go back to the rule book. So there is a rule book which says Motor Vehicle Act, and then in that particular book, it clearly says how do you get a license, what is the procedure, what is the requirements. So we followed all of that and we applied for a license. And Mr. P. Ravi Kumar, who was then the transport secretary, helped us because we were proactive and asking for help. So we were not going with any influence or anything. We were just going as normal people trying to create something.
And I also believe you are the first company to get the licenses in India, right?
Yes, the first licensed company. Yeah.
And which was the first bike that you chose to begin Royal Brothers with?
Royal Enfields.
Why Royal Enfields?
So back in those days when I was trying to buy a bike, which is Royal Enfield, the waiting period was somewhere between 6 to 12 months. And then you had to influence to get it at much faster pace. And then the craze for Royal Enfield was huge, right? So you see, market has a demand and there is a supply car challenge. And I said, okay, how do we solve this? We place Royal Enfield as first, because that acts as our brand ambassador itself, right? So people will talk about it because, hey, why are you waiting for it? Let's rent it. You can. So if I want to do a bike trip to Kurk or Chikmagalur, right? First I have to buy a bike. For that I have to wait for 12 months and then decide a date and travel, right? Right now you decide the date. If the bike is available, you just book and take the bike, right? So tomorrow you can plan, and that spontaneous thing is available. So that's what Royal Enfield was helpful for us in creating our brand. And today we are the single largest Royal Enfield fleet owners in India, and that's about Royal Enfields. But they are really beautiful machines, I would say.
Yep. But I have a question. Why would people, you know, rent a bike rather than buy it?
Say for example, say take your case, and you're going to interview another founder in a new city. Say for example, let's take Vijayawada or Vizag, right? So you're there for maybe a day or two, and you have all of your camera equipments with you, and then you need a cab, which is expensive, and you just started. You'd rather rent a bike. The 2 days the bike is with you at affordable cost, and you will fill fuel and use it according to your need, and then return it back. It's as good as your own bike in a new city. So that's what we are urging people, that we are someone that we are trying to create. That if you see, we are already there in 45 odd cities, and we want to be at 250 cities by next 3 years. The plan is that we want to give the confidence to the customers that I don't have to buy, I can rent from Royal Brothers and any brand. For example, if I buy a Royal Enfield for myself, right? So I'm committed for 36 months or 5 years based on my loan, and once that commitment is there, I can't change the bike. So, and then I have a financial commitment, maintenance, insurance, everything is taken care here, and you'll get the bike when you need it for 10 hours, you need it for 10 months, it's there. And pricing is also very dynamic, so it should be really helpful for you.
So, what were the challenges you faced during the startup phase, and how did you overcome those?
See, the challenges, I would say, will always be there and will exist, and it will increase as you grow, right? So that's what something that I've realized as a journey of 5 years, right? So when we started, the biggest challenge was to get the right office. So so even a landlord who's trying to rent a house, is also worried: is this guy going to pay my rent or something? And then the new guys who are joining, oh, these guys are running out of a house. Do you think they'll pay my salary on time? And then you don't have licenses. So you get all of this, you break that barrier and you move forward. Then you get different customer challenges, maybe customer acquisition plans, because it has to keep changing. The acquisition plan has to keep changing because the market is completely dynamic, right? So for example, in Coorg, the whole market is tourist. The moment you move to Udupi or Manipal, the crowd is students. Then you move to Bangalore, there are a lot of commuters. So the market is different, the marketing strategies are different. Every time we add a new city, the geography is different, the people's behavior is different. So we have to adapt to it. So I think there are a lot of challenges in any business, but the strong desire is to not give up and figure out a solution. So whenever my team comes with a challenge, I give them one thing. See, for they usually say, like, I have a problem, Abhishek. It's not a problem. Let's consider it as a challenge. So let's solve the challenge right now. So if there is a problem, let's find a solution. So what essentially happens in a person's mind is, once I face a roadblock, right, I have a problem and I'm always sunk into it. Like, I'm sucked into it. Maybe like, oh, I hit this problem, I hit a roadblock, I don't know where my life is going. Where your effort and your energy was supposed to be going on building a solution. So that's the approach that we take, and the team has been really doing good that way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, because you here are kind of changing the perspective towards a particular problem,
Yeah.
right? Rather than you dwelling on the problem saying, "Arey yaar, this is what has happened. Now I don't know what we're gonna do."
Yeah. Complete positivity, zero negativity.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what are the things that you normally do in terms of, making yourself, you condition your brain for success? Do you read books? Do you watch videos? What do you do?
Yeah. I'm really sorry. I don't read books. Yeah. But one brand that I've been following from my childhood days is Apple. So Apple has created, I think the way they've created the market is it's become an aspiration for someone to own a product of Apple. First, second thing is their product quality and customer experience. So this is something that I've been seeing from almost like last 15 years, from when I've started using my first Apple product. So I've been following Steve Jobs for quite long. So I would rather say I read a lot of, watch a lot of videos on how companies are built, what are the struggles they go through, rather than reading books.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyways, it's all about what works for you, right? If reading books helps you, that is what we should do. If attending seminars, or if it's watching videos, anything that basically helps or that works for you, one must do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what are the different plans, or let's say, what are the different modules that Royal Brothers has, and how does this work?
See, we are strongly a macro mobility company, and we are in the shared economy space. So most importantly, it's a bike that you pick up from one location and you come back and drop it in the same location. So the idea for us is to create as many hubs as possible closer to your house. So in Bangalore, we operate close to 14 locations. So the way we go about in any city is, we launch one location and then we start adding based on the demand, the traffic that comes in, right? So as a business model, see, it's purely a bike rental company. Uh, uh, to be very transparent, but the way what we are trying to solve, that gives you a clear picture of. See, what we are trying to solve is a lot of millennials when they are growing up, right? So in India, there are 500 million people who earn less than maybe 5 lakhs in a month, sorry, in a year. So that's half of our population, right? So, and all of these guys cannot afford to buy, and they can't afford to maintain them, they can't insure them every year, and that's becoming a challenge today, right? And they're all and millennials are someone who, we have exposure to a lot of things, right? So today I might like one particular product, tomorrow I will like the different one. But if I'm sunk, I'm sticking to a financial commitment on one product, then I'm forced to stay with it for almost 15 years or 10 years or 5 years based on the loan period, right? So what we are trying to tell people is, okay, we will give you a vehicle of your choice in your city or in any city that you travel at your time duration. You need it for 4 hours or 10 hours or 10 days, it's yours. You pick it up, you drop it. So what we have essentially offer is a bike rental for 4 hours, 5 hours. Time duration is yours, and then we offer them best quality bikes in town, and then we give them 24 bars on roadside assistance, and then all the vehicles are insured, and we have mechanics running around. So everything is in top notch condition, right? So when you start building something like this, people will start trusting something like this, and once they start trusting this, they will never think about buying or buying their own vehicle.
Yep, that makes sense. And you guys have also been in the news. I've heard that you have plans of going international, right? Launching Royal Brothers in different countries. So, would you like to shed some light on that as to what your future goals are? What is the vision?
Yes, yes. So see, we are a mobility company working on shared economy business, and there's definitely need for Asian markets like Thailand or Indonesia, China, and Vietnam, Cambodia, and then we have Sri Lanka, Nepal. Everyone needs commute, and we in fact enable commute. When we enable people to move, they're doing a lot of different stuff. One of the, maybe like I give you an example, you might use it for your business. So tomorrow, a lawyer who's in a new city, who's helping the client in that particular city, maybe he's just here there for hearings, for 5 hearings. He can take a vehicle, or he's here to meet clients. So we enable a lot of business transactions. So I would say we are an enabler with mobility, through mobility.
Yep. And I see that you guys have, also been backed up by a few angel investors. You guys have raised funds, right? What advice would you have for people who, are trying to find investors for their own companies? How did you find investors?
I think the biggest challenge is not finding investors. It's finding the best product that fits the market. So we call it product market fit. So once you get this, then you have customers who are paying for it. So I would call the real investors are our customers first, right? So our financial investors or equity investors are someone who are enabling, making sure our dreams are fulfilled, right? So they are definitely here for monetary benefit, but they also see a lot of value creation. So that's the reason they partner with it, right? So once you know what you're creating, what kind of traction you've gained, and what kind of team you've built, it's easier to raise funding. So that's what we have realized over time. So I would say every time I look out for funding, which is maybe very soon, but most importantly, I look out what is happening with our business. The primary focus is our business. If the business is doing well, in terms of, not just in terms of revenues, in terms of customers, in terms of team members, in terms of getting the right people on board, in terms of our scaling, all of that. If all of this is in place, I think investment is not a hard.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back to what you said, about finding right people. How do you do that? Because a lot of startups face this challenge.
So I keep telling my team there's one important thing, right? So this is what I believe. I call it your network is your net worth. So from the team that is working with us, from the investors that have invested in us, everyone is through a network of mine. So, and most importantly, people have joined us because they've heard about me through their friends, or maybe they've seen me grow and then they're like, I want to be part of that journey. So it is about being active in social media and being active with people in their social lives. You just go hang out and meet people, understand others. They are facing challenges, maybe help them out, and you get referred easily. So our investment was through that. So I would say your network is your big
Okay, and what are some practical ways to build a network?
network.
Yes.
See, they could go to networking sessions, but more than that, you have a lot of network around you, I would say, like from your college friends or school friends, or your professors, or your father's friends. So you need to talk to people. When you talk to people, it opens up a lot of things, and they'll come back to you for some particular suggestion or maybe some discussion. And then eventually they'll start referring you a good candidate who wants to work with you or someone. So that definitely happens. It's there's no hard and fast rule or a rule book for how to network. Maybe what do you follow when you meet people maybe is as clear as what questions do you ask, how do you create an interest, right? So if I'm talking to you, and how do I make sure you're interested in me? If that is my motto, I think we would definitely do that, right?
Okay, that makes sense. I have a question here.
Yeah.
Let's imagine that I've booked a bike from Royal Brothers and I'm going, right, maybe traveling to Coimbatore or Vizag. Now, in the middle of the night, something happens and my bike just stops.
Yeah.
So at that point of time, what do you guys do? Like, how are you gonna make sure that I'm safe?
So there are two ways that we work around. So one is we ask the client to relax. We're there. That's the reason we run 24 bars on roadside assistance. and customer support, and then we figure out the nearest mechanic if we can move him there and fix it. If not, we ask them to park the vehicle in a secure place and take a cab, or we bring in a cab, and we take the cost. So our intention is not to make these vehicles break on the road. So we do a lot of preventive maintenance, because over time we have analyzed a lot of things. What happens with the Royal Enfield, what happens with the Honda Activa, at what kilometers. So we know which vehicle has to be serviced at what duration, right? So we've built that particular data, and based on that we were able to deliver a better service. So it's not that we are 100% right, but we are 98.15% is right.
Okay. I've also heard that you have a passion for bike riding, right? What are some other passions apart from bike riding? Do you have anything else?
I think I have more than biking or speed. I would say I have passion for travel, because travel has kind of opened up my mind, and I think through mobility, like I mentioned before, we are enabling a lot of businesses to happen, a lot of creative people to explore opportunities.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on this because I myself is somebody who loves traveling alone, answering or looking for answers myself. How about you? Do you travel alone or do you travel with friends?
Both the ways, it's okay. I go with the flow, and then maybe a drive with friends, or maybe if I want answers, I might travel alone, sit in a cafe and think.
So, what is your best experience while traveling?
The best thing is when I sit in the flight and I have no connection to internet, and I'm thinking, how do I make this product much more stickier to customers, and then I find all of these answers. And what I do is, if it is related to a technology, tech team's development, I write the message and send it, and the message doesn't deliver, right? And it gets delivered the moment I land, right? Because it's always looking for an internet connection. So what I do is I type it and send it to the respective person immediately. If it is at 1 a.m. in the night, I do it.
Mm-hmm. And Abhishek, most of my listeners are either people who have started their own business or are people who want to start their own business, right? So, what advice would you give people who want to start their own business or already have started their business, which could basically help?
One is try and work for a startup
Mm-hmm.
for maybe, and a startup which is small, maybe 50 people team, or 10, something between 10 to 100, and work closer to the management team. Learn from their mistakes, and be their support, help them. And once you have built a good network, so here you're building good network as well when you're helping them, right? And once you've built that, then take the risk and take their help to build your startup. Your immediate boss could be your investor in the next startup. So if you see a lot of history, I think a lot of startups have raised from their previous founders they've worked with, or investors that they work with. So I would rather say work for them, and then realize, see the real time problems, and then start. And then maybe you might realize, okay, I don't want to go through all of these problems. I would rather be in a good position in this company, and then be maybe the top management team and grow. So you have an opportunity to decide.
Wow, that's a great advice. I'm sure it would help a lot of people. Uh, while I was researching, right, Vishek, I also came across that you've got some feedback, some suggestion from Ramesh Babu,
Yeah.
who's famously known as a barber who owns Rolls Royce. So, what suggestion did he give you?
So we met Ramesh Babu, I think, in 2016. So we went to him, and then we were almost similar to their business in terms of they were doing cars and we were doing bikes. So great learning from him. So he spent time with us, maybe 2 hours. Then he handed over the Rolls Royce keys to me. I said, if you want to drive, take a drive. Then he said one important. So it was basically sharing of stories, and the feedback was like, he said, yeah, the business exists. You really have to struggle through it, but it's not something which is not doable. So I think that was one of the greatest feedbacks. And then we tried working together as well in terms of business. They tried getting into bike rentals, so we helped them get into bike rentals. So I think we went with an idea of how do we grow together so that the whole market is created, right? So if today Royal Brothers cannot alone create a bike rental market for India, so you need 50 other players who will come on board. The top 5 will serve the best bikes, and they'll remain in the market, right? So market creation has to happen, and we want more people to join in. Hence, maybe through franchises, maybe through their own bike rental companies, and help the whole ecosystem grow.
Mm-hmm. And since you're in B2C space, right, we all know that providing a great support, especially in B2C space, is very crucial. So,
Yeah,
how are you satisfying your customers?
I think that mostly happens because of the values that you create in the company and the culture. So if you're sitting in our office. Did you see any cubicle here? Right. So we sit anywhere we find a chair. So that the transparency is there, and the value for us is biggest is trust. So we don't want to lose the trust that customers put in and booked a bike with us, right? So we go over and above to help them at any given point of time. Maybe if we don't have a bike and if he's reached out to us, we refer our competition's website because he is looking up for Royal Brothers assistance. So we are there for him. So that's what how we create a difference.
Mm-hmm. I want to circle back to what you said a few minutes ago, Abhishek, while we were discussing about building a team, right? So, what do you do that keeps you aligned with your team members? Uh, what do you do to motivate your team members, your team, so that they could help the company grow as well as grow themselves?
One is the way I do it. Oh, I don't know how the industry does it though. So I meet a lot of them. I take them out for coffee, dinners, and then we meet, we discuss, and tell them what we are trying to build. And if I'm traveling somewhere, I sit with them and share my travel experience, so that they understand what's happening in the market, and then put them through it, and then they also understand what we're trying to build, and basically give them a lot of ownership. See, we are living in the millennial era, and where people they don't want to work like a typical mindsets, right? So there are millennials are completely different. So they need to be given ownership and to be trusted. So that's what we do most of the time, and then we tell them, okay, this is what we expect, and they do their best.
Are these one on one?
Yeah, a lot of one-on-ones. Maybe for a coffee, maybe for a tender coconut.
Okay. And what, according to you, Abhishek, has been the secret recipe for the success of Royal Brothers?
People. I think our success is because of the culture. So see, when you talk to me, so uh, the way I communicate. Say, for example, there's a team member of ours who's talking to us, and then I'm communicating, I'm telling about values, how I want to build the brand, or how we don't want to cheat the customers. There's a lot of opportunity for us to take money, but we don't. We want to be very transparent. So when you keep instigating all of these, and the conversations are happening over coffee or a drink or anything, so that kind of creates a good culture. So that way, the company becomes really healthy. See, today a lot of team members of Royal Brothers have joined like 3 years, 2 years ago when we were very small, and they're still with us and they're growing. And we also give them the scope of going out and learning for maybe a month or 2 months, get a training, and then come back.
Interesting. I also heard, Abhishek, that you guys had participated in some
Yeah.
event in London. Would you like to shed some light?
Yeah, so I attended a event hosted by EasyJet and JetBlue. So JetBlue is an airline company and EasyJet is a airline company based out of UK. JetBlue is from the US. So they were hosting a travel pitch event. So any companies which were building in the travel or mobility industry could come and pitch, and I pitched Royal Brothers there, and we won the competition.
Wow, that is amazing.
Thank you.
Do you also have mentors in your life that guide you?
We've had we are having, and the mentor list is increasing as on day, right? So I'm right now on a hunt to get mentors in specific industries and connect my specific head of business or head of marketing or head of operations to those mentors, so that they can have an interaction and they build their network on a one-on-one or a weekly or a monthly basis. So mentors are really important. So these people have who have done built companies, or founders who have built companies, or might have failed, or might have been succeeded. They would have got invested from Ratan Tata. So we are trying to find all of these guys, and how do we help them, and how they can help us. And I think mentors are someone that you should have it, and I would strongly suggest everyone.
Yep, I agree 100%. And according to you, Abhishek, what do you think? How can people find the right mentors?
So first you need to figure out what you want, right? So I've seen a lot of people come to us and say, okay, I need mentor. I was like, why? And what department do you need the mentor for? Like, I need it in ops. I need it with respect to finance. So you need to have a specific things, and then you have a specific ask, and you need to be very clear on your vision. See, people get bought into based on your idea, right? And they don't. So most of the mentors don't even see your balance sheet, and they don't even charge. So they also want to give you the knowledge that they have got through their journey, right? So they are free on Saturdays, Sundays. I think it's more on the approach and how genuine that you seem. Like your questions to be point. These are the things that I'm looking for answers, and I feel you're right because of so and so. So I think the way you frame your questions will get you the mentor.
Hmm. And what is your vision towards Royal Brothers? Where do you want to take this company?
We want to be the single largest mobility player. That's the dream. Uh, Immediately, we want to take it to 250 cities in the next 3 years, and working on macro mobility largely, and then move to other countries on the Asian market. And so my biggest dream, the way I tell people in the team is, so just imagine you are in Delhi, and then you have a Royal Brothers ID card because you work. You land in Delhi through a train or a flight or a bus, and then you know Royal Brothers is there. You just go and flash your ID card, and then you take a bike. So just imagine what are the possibilities. So 250 cities is not the end. The possibilities are endless. So we want to enable mobility, like I said, so throughout India.
Hmm. And what advice would you like to give the listeners, right, who are listening to us, people who want to start their own business, or people who are looking to raise some funds, right, looking for investors? So, what should they do that can help them find what they're looking for?
So one is their idea and vision should be very strong. With that, the single largest quality that they should have is not to give up. That has to be seen. And then any investor, if you're looking for investments, that in the investor not just looks at your business model, they look at who are you as a person, how have you built the team, what is the culture that is created in the company, and why does he have to invest, that this is the next rocket ship, right? So that could be seen only if you have built the right team and you have a good reputation in the market, all of those.
Wow, that is some real good advice. So, we're coming to an end here, Abhishek. So, this is one question that I ask almost every guest on my podcast, right? So, let's imagine that you are 60, 70 years old, right? You've accomplished all your dreams and goals, and your life is coming to an end.
Yeah.
And there are two advices that you could give your kids,
Mm.
okay? And what those two advice are
To
going to be?
my kids.
Yes. This could be a personal advice, a professional advice that could actually help them lead a successful life.
Very good question. I've not thought through till 60, 70. I thought my deadline is 50. I'm really excited to have 20 more years on my bracket. One thing is, you today or 50 years down the line, one single largest suggestion is to build or a habit or a quality within yourself, saying that not to give up. So, however hard it is, however difficult it is, however challenging it is to not give up. So once you have this quality, I think you'll always find a solution. So if you might have a shortage for money, you might have shortage for anything or 100 things, right? So I think the mind is the biggest tool. Money is not the biggest tool. Your mind is the biggest tool. So not to give up. So if you train your mind to not to give up, I think you wouldn't. So I'll stick with one, then that would be that.
Okay, thank you so much, Abhishek, for your time.
Thank you so much. And it was nice interacting with you.
My pleasure, Abhishek. It was wonderful talking to you and understanding how you were able to build this business. I'm sure this would help a lot of people who are listening.
Okay. By the way, tell me, what is your plan? Let this go on the podcast.
Sure. Uh, See, Abhishek, I wanna basically build a community where all of us, basically people who wanna learn, who wanna grow, who wanna start their own business, anybody who has a dream or a desire to succeed, right? But kind of does not know where to begin. So I wanna create a platform where people could learn
Yeah.
from each other, right? People have already accomplished. Let's say you have started your own business, you've been running it for the last 5 years, right? So your story could help a lot of other people who want to start their own business, be it in terms of business, health, wealth. In short, a community of people that wants to grow and also want to make sure that while they grow, they're also contributing back to the society.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do.
So basically, you mean to say that I'm using media as a tool to inspire people to do what they want to do.
Exactly.
Interesting. All the best with that.